My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. UFC 281 was absolutely insane. It was worth the money. It was a ton of fun, and it set the record for most first-round stoppages in UFC history. So let's talk about it. First of all, before we talk about the fights, I got some video clips. I got some pictures for you. Before we talk about the fights, let's talk about the success. 2 weeks in a row, we've crushed literally every single thing that you could possibly crush while betting on fights and doing DFS. I'm up units. Jacob's up insane units. Jacob didn't go live on YouTube, but he was tweeting bets, throwing live bets in Discord. Those are up big. Prize Picks hit. Monkey Knife Fight hit. Underdog Fantasy hit. The exclusive premium member parlay hit. The 2-leg, the 3-leg, and the 4-leg parlay hit. Literally every single thing hit exactly the same as last week's UFC Vegas 64. Let's talk about these fights. First of all, the Karolin Silvana Gomez Juarez fight, that was not first very close fight, good fight, fun fight, good for both of them. And then they come out with the scorecard, and before Bruce Buffer reads them, this guy, who I imagine is a commissioner, runs in, grabs the scorecard, starts writing with a pen, completely changing it. And if you looked closely, you watched him change the bottom score. He literally flipped the last round score. It was one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. I don't think we've had an official response as to what happened or why. This was the final scorecard, so they literally switched it from Silvana winning to Karolina Kowalkiewicz winning because it was the last round that they moved those points around. So that was kind of ridiculous. I'm hoping that there's some sort of official statement out there as to what actually happened. If you've seen it, I haven't. If you've seen it, leave a comment below where you saw it. I'd love to hear from the New York State Athletic Commission what the hell happened, why they did that. I mean, that was nuts, especially because it was a super close fight. It's not like it was a dominant fight and they clearly were going to mess up the scorecard. No, this was a super close fight. Then we have Andre Petroski, Wellington Turman. This was a very, very good fight. Two takeaways. One, Wellington Turman's very good. His stand-up looked phenomenal. He worked Andre Petroski's body. His stand-up was crisp, clean. Obviously, I had Petroski to win. I even had him in the safety parlay. But halfway through that first round, I was just like, this feels like Andre Petroski's going to get knocked out. Wellington Turman was going to the body, landing on the head whenever he wanted to. And even when Petroski landed clean, Wellington didn't care. Ultimately, it was the good old-fashioned American wrestling that got this done. And then I mentioned in the Quick Picks video, I mentioned in the breakdowns, Petroski's going to get the takedowns. We did the over 1.5 on Prize Picks. He's going to get the takedowns, and I'm not worried about the jiu-jitsu because while Pat Sabatini was just smoked, Sean Brady was just smoked, they are insane grapplers, and Petroski's with them every single day. He's technically only a purple belt, but he looked fantastic. His submission defense was on point. His positioning was on point, and he's, you know, you get a lot of these really good wrestlers that transition to jiu-jitsu, transition to MMA, and some of them are just remain wrestlers that can defend takedowns or defend submissions. Petroski looked like an actual grappler. The way he moved, the way he grabbed positions, his scrambles, he looked like an actual grappler. So he's done a phenomenal job taking the wrestling, adding the grappling, and working all that. So Wellington Turman looked great. And frankly, if Petroski didn't have the wrestling takedowns, Wellington Turman was going to dominate that fight. So I hope they don't cut him, and I don't think they will. I am looking forward to see what Wellington Turman does, and then Petroski going forward as well. He looked like he was gassed, and then he somehow put it together and continued to come forward, continued to make that happen. Erin Blanchfield looked absolutely phenomenal. So I picked Erin Blanchfield to win, but I said, you know, I'm going to leave her out of parlays because this feels like a parlay buster fight. This feels like the type of fight that Molly McCann could come out here and just be the older vet. No, that's not what happened. I was dead wrong. I got the pick right. The insight was wrong. Molly McCann looked phenomenal. I don't know why she struggled so much with J.J. Aldrich and didn't struggle at all with Molly McCann. And I get it. You guys are going to comment like crazy, because Molly sucks. I mean, Molly's a legit, tried and true, gritty, tough fighter. Molly McCann is. And Erin Blanchfield just, boom, takedown, boom, crucifix, control, did whatever she wanted to do. She looked phenomenal. I don't know who she fights next, but I don't think I'm going to doubt her anytime soon. Poor Dominick Reyes. I mean, we all knew that Ryan Spann by knockout was a possibility, right? That's a possibility in every fight he's ever been in. I even had the half a unit money line bet on Ryan Spann at plus 180. That was money line. I should have just gone for Ryan Spann by knockout because that was the only, well, I guess he does snatch up submissions, but that was pretty much the way he was going to win that fight. Anyway, Ryan Spann looked pretty good. He looked pretty good, and he blasted Dominick Reyes, put him out. I think Dominick Reyes, I feel bad. I feel bad. This guy went from everybody arguing he beat Jon Jones to being knocked out cold 3 fights in a row. 3 fights in a row, just absolutely knocked out cold. He's on a 4-fight skid, 3 of them by insane knockout. 1 of them, what people think was a bad decision against Jon Jones. So good for Ryan Spann. I don't know where Dominick Reyes goes from here because the problem is once the chin's gone, the chin's gone. That's it. Like, what can you do, especially at this weight class? What's he going to do? He's not a wrestler. He can't just tuck it and start diving at legs. The chin's gone. Chin's gone. It is what it is, unfortunately, for Dominick Reyes. But Ryan Spann, good for him. Nice win. And it'll be interesting to see what happens at this weight class now. I mean, how great was this fight? Dan Hooker made Claudio Puelles look like a toddler. This whole jiu-jitsu nerd nonsense, scooting on your butt, just begging the gods to get this to the ground. Listen, the first couple of minutes, Claudio Puelles did that Omanari roll, got the heel, actually was like, holy crap, this dude's going to do it. He's going to pull this off. But Dan Hooker stayed composed, kept his legs straight, kept pressure down, and was good, got out of it. From that moment forward, Puelles just looked like a child, literally looked like a child in tumble class, rolling over his shoulders, praying to God he can grab an ankle. It is legitimately pathetic to watch. And I know I'm not the one in the cage. I get it. But watching a grown man who's supposed to be a fist fighter roll around on the ground begging to grab something is sad. If you're rolling on the ground in a scramble, absolutely, it's MMA. There's going to be jiu-jitsu scrambles. There's going to be wrestling scrambles. There's going to be a ton of grappling. But that's not what this was. Dan Hooker standing up, ready to fist fight on his feet. And then we got Claudio Puelles on his butt, scooting forward like, please, come on, please. Oh, my God, please come down to the mat with me. And I just will never understand. He is so dangerous on the ground. So dangerous on the ground. It's like a Mackenzie Dern level of dangerous on the ground, but he can't get it there on his own. I will never understand that. Let's look at what Petroski just did. Petroski was a purple belt who smoked a black belt with good old-fashioned wrestling. The fact that somebody like Claudio Puelles has this insane jiu-jitsu and no wrestling blows my mind. I will never understand it. You're just going to scoot on your butt like a dog getting rid of a dingleberry on a carpet instead of shooting a double leg, shooting a single, and trying to actually make it happen. Take 1.5 years off and just go to wrestling camp and do nothing but wrestle. Nothing but wrestle. These people drive me nuts. The people that have that, I have great grappling and zero wrestling style. It absolutely drives me nuts. I don't want to say shame on him because he went out there, he put on the line, tried to win that fight, but damn it, man. What are you only doing jiu-jitsu rounds? Wrestle. Wrestle your ass off and only wrestle. How great was this fight? Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler. How great was this fight? I don't think it was a surprise. It was a great fight. Every single person knew that this was going to be fight of the night. That first round was round of the year candidate. The fight is fight of the year candidate. Everything about this was absolutely phenomenal. But let's be honest. Looked like Michael Chandler was going to win that fight. It looked like Michael Chandler was going to win that fight. He wrestled when he needed to. He had ridiculous power in his hands. And obviously, Dustin Poirier's composed, touched him. But Dustin Poirier basically gave up a round of control. He was getting hit on his feet. He obviously dropped Michael Chandler, but everybody does at some point. So it was a great, great fight. And let's take a look at this. This is what changed the fight. So we get Michael Chandler picking up Dustin, picking him up, clean over his head, dumps him, well on his way to controlling another round, and then right here, bang. Look at Dustin block. He's blocking that hook from coming in. Michael Chandler already has one hook in. He already has this one hook in his left leg. If that right leg comes over the top and that's in, he now has Dustin's back, and that's the end of it. Dustin, obviously tried and true vet, at a great team, getting the grappling rounds in, blocks that foot from coming in, recovers, ends up on top, and then that is ultimately what led to Dustin's submission win. Literally this exchange. Blocking this foot went from Dustin losing this fight to winning that fight. So great job, Dustin. Tried and true vet. And Michael Chandler, you got to appreciate Michael Chandler. That guy went out there, tried to win, put it on the line, was a ton of fun, had his moments. I hope these guys get stupid secret locker room money for this fight. Then we have Weili Zhang taking on Carla Esparza. Listen, I think we all had Weili winning this fight. I don't know. I don't think I saw anybody taking Carla to win this fight. Certainly, there was a world where Carla was going to get the takedowns, but Weili is just such a next level athlete. It's insane. Her progression between fights is insane. I don't think there's anybody in potentially the UFC that has the experience she has and is still improving at this rate. It's one thing if you have 2 fights and then your 3rd fight you look much better, of course. But the amount of fights that Weili has, she's a former champion, and to see the improvements between fights is nuts. She looked like her striking was on point, as we know. Her grappling exchanges were phenomenal. Even when she ended up on her back, she scrambled well, ended up on top. Carla Esparza looked good as well in her grappling exchanges, but Weili did such a great job not worrying about the wrestling. Carla would shoot, Weili would work, try to defend it, and then transition to jiu-jitsu immediately. Weili looked phenomenal. I know she's 0 for 2 against Rose, and maybe Rose just has her number, but I thought she won that second fight, and I think if they fight a 3rd time, she just dominates Rose. Look how much she's improving. It's incredible. Congratulations to Weili. Listen, it sucks for Carla that this is how that went down, but frankly, Carla's the 2-time champ, the original, the first ever champion in this weight class. She won that belt again. She has a Hall of Fame career. Good for her. She'll probably never win this belt again, but good for Carla Esparza and phenomenal for Weili Zhang. Main event. How insane was this? This had Usman vibes all over again, right? Winning the fight, lost the first round, won the next 3, and then got put out in the 5th. That's exactly what happened to Usman when he lost his belt. Lost the first round, won the next 3, was put out in the 5th. Listen, a lot of people are going to argue that this was an early stoppage. I don't think it was, and even Israel Adesanya himself said it was not an early stoppage. He also said that Pereira's calf kicks lit him up. Couple things to take away from this fight. Izzy's the better fighter. Izzy had Pereira rocked early. Had him rocked. We thought he was going to put him out. Didn't. Izzy won some of those grappling exchanges, right? Got himself a takedown. First takedown in UFC history for Israel Adesanya. And as Jacob was saying in the Discord, he kept calling him Izzy Nurmagomedov and Izzy Makayev, which is just funny to poke fun at him for shooting takedowns. But Alex Pereira shot a takedown as well, and his looked good. Alex Pereira rolled for a knee bar. He bailed on it almost immediately, but it looked good when he went for that exchange there. So, listen, this was a great fight. I absolutely would not mind them running back. I think Izzy has earned an immediate rematch. Who else do you throw in here? Robert Whittaker? Because Robert Whittaker is going to destroy Alex Pereira. He's very complete on his feet. Obviously, he needs to avoid the big power, but he's got real takedowns. Izzy got those takedowns without a ton of effort. So anybody with some decent takedowns at this weight class can absolutely take Pereira down and get it done. But I'm not taking anything away from Pereira. This dude only has a handful of MMA fights, and he just beat the most dominant UFC champion today, outside of Valentina Shevchenko. The most dominant male UFC champion. Alex Pereira just beat him. Didn't quit on himself, was clearly exhausted in the middle of that fight, didn't quit on himself, and then got that stoppage, got it done. Good for him. Izzy has earned an immediate rematch. I don't know what he changes in his game, but does he stay farther away? Does he refuse to engage? Because what was incredible during that fight was just seeing the size difference. Alex Pereira is an absolute monster of a person. This looked like a welterweight fighting a light heavyweight. It was insane, and Izzy's not small. The size difference was absolutely incredible. What a fun fight. Let me know in the comments if you would like to watch an immediate rematch. Totally understand Pereira is 3-0 against Izzy, but I'd like to see this fight again. I think we all deserve it, and I think Izzy absolutely earned it, both in that fight and everything he's done leading up to it. So we have a new middleweight champion of the world. Congratulations to Alex Pereira for coming over here and just immediately becoming champion in the UFC. Third fight in the UFC, the new champion dethroning the most dominant champion the UFC has. Guys, don't forget, become a premium member. I told you we're up big money. The safety parlay, all 4 legs hit this week. All 4 legs hit last week. I'm up units. Jacob's up units. If you followed every single bet that we put on the screen, you would be up, I think it's like 30 some odd units. Something absolutely stupid. It's only $10 a month, and $10 gets you all the picks, all the bets, all the fantasy prop games, a DraftKings optimizer, and so much more. And yes, we hit every single fantasy prop game. Prize Picks is just, at this point, we're a charity, and they're just giving us money. It's ridiculous what we're doing to Prize Picks. But WeWantPicks.com, at the top, there's a button that says Become a Member. Click it. It's $10 a month. A weekend like this, I just paid for 10 years worth of your membership. And if you want $50, 50, we will literally send you $50. All you need to do is go to WeWantPicks.com/bets, sign up with any one of our betting partners, make a deposit, and I'll send you $50. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. All you need to do is use our link, sign up, and make a deposit. I mean, they pay us, we pay you. It's literally that simple. WeWantPicks.com/bets.